I've sat down here with Karrigan before you head into the game against Spirit that could potentially eliminate you from the tournament, Karrigan. But we're not going to talk about that just yet, because I am curious, and I guess the viewers at home are curious too, in terms of how does an in-game leader actually prepare for a game. So I brought you to the desk right here to explain to me step by step, what do you do, right? You played your last game in here a day and a half ago, you then go back to the hotel, and then what happens? Yeah,
now here at BLAST we have a day off. Which is normally not the case. Yeah, it's a player day off, player day, right? So in this case, you're reviewing the game first of all, trying to see what mistakes you're doing, but also what good things you're doing, because I think sometimes you're focused on a little bit negative things, but also trying to emphasize the positive things you can do for next game again. Going into the game, I'm looking at veto. Obviously, that is what I love the most. It's very exciting.
Okay.
Now we play train against Astralis. I'm gonna look into obviously the veto against Spirit. I'm gonna prepare all 5 maps, mostly because sometimes I can't control the veto and what maps they're gonna pick, and sometimes I do less prep on a map. So basically, it just comes down to what I present in the veto. If people agree, disagree, where can we find agreement? And sometimes we do votes on what picks, because we are a team that picks different constantly and ban differently. So I think it's a way of kind of like feeling how comfortable people are on the maps.
Okay, and when you say you prepare a map, what does that entitle? When you say prepare 5 maps, what specifically are you doing to preparing a map?
Yeah, so for me, I am not playing really important roles on CT side. I'm playing a lot of anchor roles, meaning I am focusing 80–90% more on the T side, and then we have analysts looking both on the T side and CT side. At this team, what the roles John have, he's preparing like kind of CT rounds, what he wants to play and how he wants to play the rounds. And T side, it is creating variations of rounds we played previously. Variation, I think that's going to be good. Tendencies from enemies, I see myself. To be honest, I don't use so much the analyst work I have if I'm prepping myself, because I have a good read myself how this round's gonna play out in my head and what's gonna work. And then obviously if there's a map I didn't prep, if I'm surprised in a veto, there's a third map, I have analyst work to kind of give me the basics. But at this point in my career, I see so many demos, even if I'm off time at home, so I have a kind of good feeling of how to make the move, but also how the teams like to play certain rounds.
That makes sense. So you're now done your prep for the 5 maps, you're presenting it to the team as well. So you just did a veto here before we sat down. So how much does the team come together to decide on the veto? At the end of the day, is it your call what maps you're playing, or you're always trying to take in, I guess, feedback from the members?
Sometimes there's obvious picks and obvious bans. Not really much to discuss. I'm presenting the plan and obviously the reason why I think it's the good call to do. I have asking how everyone feels, and if there is a 50-50, like 2 people want to ban this, 2 people want to pick this or whatever, I take the final call together with Neo.
How often does that happen?
Well, not that often. I think it's often 3-1 or 4-0. So I think people are really following what we are good at. We also, before every event starts, we do map ranking individually. Sometimes the map ranking is strange because a player puts 1, the best map, and some of the players put it 7. So it's about individually progress on the map, how they feel on the map, and that's the beauty of this team. Or another team, I don't think everybody loves the same map, but people have different places where they think they have the impact to turn the game around, right? But in the end, me as a leader and also the coaching staff, we are having like a clear idea how the macro would look and how we would face up against these teams we're playing on different maps.
All right, makes sense. A great amount of insight right there. Now, specifically against Team Spirit, there's one player that sticks out in Dog. So
yeah,
I just had this question.
So.
I think so, yeah, and I think a lot of people at home would feel as well. Do you ever do any player-specific preparation? Like, can one player change the way that you approach the game?
No, I've never done that. I played against like a lot of players the past 20 years. Simple, Saivu. There is rounds you know they like to do, what they like to do, but you can't stop them. That's why they are goats of the game, and that's why you just have to accept that sometimes they win the round. You can plan something, but I think it's just like there is Orbers and there is Riflers. And I think Riflers like Nico and Dunk, you don't really counter them because they're way more what's called running around on the map, basically. And with Orbers, there are specific peaks you need to be aware of. But I think that goes for every Orber in the game. So I've never done specific prep. But if there is tendencies, obviously double hedging or forcing a play out of position is default for any Orber you respect.
All right. Well, final question before I let you go and get ready for the game. You're going against Team Spirit, obviously elimination game at hand as well. What's the gut feeling telling you? Are we gonna get a good game?
I think so. It's a funny thing. We showed B game against VP wasn't good. A game against Astralis was good. Spirit is a different opponent. I still believe we played A game in Katowice. We have a big chance to beat Vitality in the group stage. So I think we can play really good. But Spirit is a great team, and I think it's the pressure that decides who is playing the best and who can play freely, and I think we have less pressure on us. Spirit has to keep performing they've done this year, and we are still in a strange space. So I'm just looking forward to play a game where I feel like the pressure's not on our side and enjoy that.
Fair enough. Finn, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for educating me and the viewers at home, and best of luck with your game.